Hello, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. Over here on my little space on the internet, we talk a little bit about jiu-jitsu, just a little. I try to chat about everything that we could potentially face and go through on our jiu-jitsu journey. Jiu-jitsu, it's not just a regular schmegular hobby, you know what I mean? There's a lot of little intricacies of jiu-jitsu and things that we may face, so I just try to bring it all to light and chat about it. So today I want to talk about how to come back to training after you've taken a little bit of a break. Maybe you've taken a break from an injury that's kept you off the mats for a while. Maybe all my ladies on here, maybe you got pregnant. Maybe, I don't know, you got a new job and the commute is crazy and you just couldn't get yourself to the gym. Maybe you had some sort of traumatic event in your life. Whatever happened, you've had to step away from the mats for a longer than you'd like period of time. Coming back to training could really be as simple as just grabbing your gym bag, getting in the car and going. But let's break it down a little bit. Tip number one on how to come back to training after you've taken a little bit of a break is maybe just a suggestion. Before you start actually going right into class and rolling with everybody, get in touch with somebody that you trust, somebody that you've trained with a lot before, and just start drilling with them and start rolling with them, even if it's just once or twice. And I would say this could be especially important for any of my injured friends on here or anybody who's just coming back and recovering from having a baby. Going full force back into training and rolling 100% could be a little intimidating, and it also may not be the smartest thing. After an injury, and certainly after having a baby, our bodies they're a little bit different, and it may take a little bit of time to sort of get back into the swing of things. What I did, for example, when I first tried jiu-jitsu, I was 6 months post-op and I was kind of given free rein to do any kind of activity very carefully. And at that point, I knew that I was nowhere near 100% and I didn't even want to start going to class, but all I wanted to do was just start feeling it out a little bit, see how my body felt moving around. So the very first time I drilled and even rolled around a little bit with my number one trusted training partner, my husband. He's a black belt, he's been training for forever, and he's the person that I trust most in life, obviously, and the person that I trust the most on the mat. So he's the one that I felt the most comfortable with and the safest with, just to kind of slowly get me back onto the mat. So if you have somebody like that, and I really hope that you do, whether it's your partner or a really good friend, I would highly recommend grabbing that person. Just do 1 or 2 sessions with them just to see how you feel before you hop right back into, full force training. Once you feel ready to start going back to class, this kind of is similar to my first point. Tip number 2 is when you go back to class, drill and roll with people that you feel comfortable with, people that you know, people that you've trained with before. And to be honest, it might not even be somebody that you feel comfortable with, day to day, chatting, hanging out, because there's definitely people that I enjoy being around, but they may not be my favorite person in the world to roll with. So when you first start coming back, again, especially for my injured friends on here, choose your training partners in the beginning wisely. I think far too often it happens where we go to roll with somebody that maybe we've never trained with before, or someone that we're just not super comfortable training with. Maybe they're a little spazzy, maybe they're a lower belt, and you let them know, hey, I'm just coming back from an injury. Please don't attempt a submission on, whatever limb you had an injury on. And they're like, okay, yeah, cool, no problem. We'll do a little flow roll. And it turns into anything but a flow roll. Have you guys ever had that happen to you? I know I definitely have. And if you're just coming back, it's just not enjoyable. I did mention in my previous video that for me personally, coming back from this injury, right? I know that it's not my training partner's full responsibility to keep me safe. Like, it's 100% my responsibility to be aware of my body and to keep myself safe. But if you do have a training partner that is just a little bit more aware, it definitely helps the situation. Another example could be maybe you've recently gone through just a really tough time in your life and that's why you had to take a little bit of a break, going with somebody or a few people that you know you can sort of just flow through movements with, people that you won't have to literally fight for your life, people that won't be spazzing out on you, going into roles where maybe you're just not ready to go 100% yet. Maybe mentally and emotionally, you're not ready to go full force 100% back into rolling. And that's okay. Take your time, choose your partners wisely, and ease your way back into it. I had an experience recently where the person that I was partnered with is known to be a little spazzy. This person would be really calm and almost not really doing too much. And then when I least expect it, this person would just bam, go 200%, but just in a spazzy, chaotic way. You know what I mean? So this whole role with this person was so unenjoyable. I just felt like I couldn't move my body freely. At this point in my little jiu-jitsu journey, I'm just trying to feel what everything feels like again. I'm just trying to move through positions. I'm trying to be defensive in certain spots and just awaken everything. And when I was rolling with someone who I just quite frankly felt unsafe with, I couldn't do any of that. And it wasn't fun, it wasn't enjoyable, and it really did nothing for me. Tip number 3, if you're just coming back to training after taking a little bit of a break, is be realistic with how much you can or want to train at first. Like I mentioned earlier, I know probably at one point in all of our little jiu-jitsu journeys, we wanted to train every day. And for many of us, we did. But life changes and our circumstances change. And if you can't train as much as somebody who's a, professional athlete who competes to get paid, don't make yourself feel bad about it. Train however much works for you and your lifestyle in this current point in your life. At one point, I used to train 6-7 days a week. I hated missing class. And now, just coming back, I'm training 2 or 3 days a week. I'm strength training a few other days a week. I'm just figuring out what feels good right now. I'm not saying you have to do this. If you want to get back right into training 6-7 days a week, twice a day, you go right ahead. You do what works for you. All I'm saying is that if you can't do that, it's okay. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Do what's best for you. And my last tip for you, for someone who is just coming back to training after taking some time off, is don't be too hard on yourself. Coming back to training after taking a long time off, whether that's 6 months. For me, it was a year. I knew someone who took 2 years off. Someone had messaged me one time saying that she took 10 years off the mats and then got the encouragement to start training again. However long you've been off the mats, when you come back, give yourself a little bit of grace. The first few sessions of you going back to class and actually rolling, it may be a little tough. One example that happened to me recently, I think I was maybe 1 or 2 weeks back into rolling, and you just kind of forget what certain positions feel like. I kind of forgot what it felt like having somebody in mount, having that really heavy pressure on my chest. She was in mount, she was really heavy, my face was covered, my mouth and my nose were covered, and for a split second, I couldn't breathe. And I just kind of forgot what that felt like, and for a brief moment, I internally panicked, and that's why I love jiu-jitsu so much, because it teaches you how to handle these things internally, right? And, I worked through it and I made the space and, whatever. But it's just an example of how you may be surprised that you sort of forget what these things feel like. You may also realize that your cardio is not what it used to be. The 6-7 minute rounds that you used to do may feel like an eternity, and you're barely surviving. Something else that I'm dealing with is you may realize that people that you used to have an easy time with, depending how long you've been off the mats, have gotten a lot better and they're giving you a hard time. Now, don't get me wrong, that's a great thing. The more tough training partners that I have, the better that I will be. And of course, I'm so happy that my friends and my training partners have gotten better while I've been gone. I guess it's just a little bit of an ego thing, I suppose, of realizing, oh my gosh, I was kind of held back for quite some time and everybody else was getting better and I haven't progressed at all. overall and feeling like I'm just starting from square one. So I'm trying to be a little bit kinder to myself. It doesn't always happen. I'm trying to give myself a little bit of grace, and that doesn't always happen either. So if you're in the same boat as me, do as I say, not as I do, and give yourself a little bit of kindness and grace. Be patient with yourself. That's probably the most important thing when you first come back to training, and keep showing up. The more consistent that you are, I promise you will find that you will get back into the swing of things quicker than you thought. Jiu-Jitsu is so different for all of us, so just enjoy your individual journey. And if you're back on the mats, be grateful that you're there. If anybody has any other tips for those of us who are just coming back to training after some time off the mats, let us know. Leave them in the comments. You guys know the deal. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If there's anything else that you would like to see or hear about, let me know. Let me know in the comments, DM me on Instagram. So until the next video, I will see you guys next time.